Good morning and welcome to today's live show. If you're not tuning into this live, make sure to tune into the last 15 minutes as we will be doing a little 15-minute breakdown at the end of this video. And then also remember that course only got eight days left to get that for $149. A great thing to do over the weekend. Take that course, get a little discount on it before that price goes up, because this market's pretty choppy. Market's a lot harder to trade in. So I think you guys would benefit from that a ton going forward. Try to use the little scheduling tool today, seeing if that would help out a little bit, but got rid of the chat. Scheduling tool. That's fun. So I can't tell if the stream looks good, but hopefully you guys are telling me it does. But good morning, Marina. Good morning, Matthew. Good morning, everyone that's coming into the chat today. Today I'm going to be pulling over the stocks here. We're going to check out the stock market as we are seeing some things go higher. I need to see if I can switch this thing. Is it fully zoomed on my face? I literally can't see. Okay, so you don't see the screen yet. There it is. Hey guys, I'm very short today. Look at that. I'm very, very short. Look at me. All right, going into this. All right, here we go. We have the SPY here, and it looks like this thing might adjust here in a moment, so we'll pull down in a moment. But right here, the SPY heading upward as of right now. So let's pay attention to that going forward. And overall, we were paying attention to this structure throughout the week, right? This is how we could have gotten screwed. Once we saw this cross up, even above that center line, even you could be out by this move right here. This is where I took all my shorts off the table, right? I loaded back up in this area just in case we saw some kind of rapid move down. That didn't happen, so I got out of my positions yesterday, and if anything, I actually went a little bit long. So here we're seeing some upward movement. Now we can go into positive territory. What we need to do is stay above this monthly. This monthly is a great little marker to have on your charts today for the SPY. 506.53. If we can hold above that, that would be a good sign that we could go up and test something like 515. But we'll have to see. Now we did get data this morning, and that data came in as expected, pretty much. So it came in as expected. We're seeing a, for the most part, I would say positive or no reaction to that data at this point. So we want to see what's happening around the market here. Now, something different for the Qs is going to be you're going to want to pay attention to 428. If we can take 428 back right where we're at right now, if we can take that level back and start to come above this high, it looks like we could start pointing upward. So that's something to pay attention to for the Qs. Hopefully you guys already have those daily ranges on your charts for today. And what we can see happen from here is, what if that 2 hour still wants to roll over? The 2 hour still can roll over here. We still can get that lower low and then see a bounce next week. But it looks like the direction is up. Now, Apple, this one on the 30-minute just hovering at overbought territory this whole time. Looks like it needs to digest in some way. The only reason that we could see a rapid move up is if this daily momentum really takes over. If this daily momentum can take over, we actually can get back up into this zone before earnings. So that's something to pay attention to. Apple giving you a divergence on a daily chart right before a big event. So if we see that positivity come in, maybe Apple's actually something that's bad for the market, or maybe Apple's what causes even more euphoria, right? That's what we were talking about. But good morning, guys. As you trickle in, make sure to like and subscribe so that you can chat, right? We're switching to subscriber-only mode for this this stream. So for the Friday stream, we're doing subscriber-only, so make sure you're subscribed in there so you can chat with us. And everyone, say good morning in the chat. We ran out of coffee filters, so I'm dying here. Amazon, Tesla. Tesla giving you the triple divergence on the daily. That's why we were looking at that. If you can retake this 50, very good likelihood you're going to get above 180.92. So I think if we can close above 180.92, we can head for this zone. Actually up towards 200, 205. I actually think that's definitely possible here. This is a positive reaction, and it doesn't matter if they had bad numbers. If you see that momentum shift up, well, we can head up to something like 205 to 210. Now, this will be your first hurdle, though. You got to get above 180.92 first. Amazon, this one giving you that divergence to the upside. Great pullback here. Great little corrective move here. This is where you take a short position. This is where 166 you expect to bounce. So we're getting that bounce from 166. Now we're seeing that head up. Do not be fooled. We can see another high in a lot of these stocks. We can see a new high, all-time high in the stock market itself, the SPY and the Qs, by doing something like this. Right? This would make total sense. It's okay if that happens. We just want to pay attention to the signals up here, seeing if we get some kind of divergence. Now the 30-minute is curling up. Can this thing remain positive today? As you are going to enter into an area for Amazon, that's very important. You can build structure. So I'd expect some kind of reaction up towards 180, right? We're getting that reaction towards 180, positivity, and then see that base out like this. So we actually might see some profit taking going on today in some of these stocks. If we're not going to see that, we're going to see the sentiment to the upside continue. Well, then you're just going to keep moving. You're not going to be a big pullback here. It's just going to be something small like this, like we break through 180, right? We break through, we retest, we go again. I think that's most likely to happen there. NVIDIA, this one here is interesting because it's outside the weekly expected move. It's seeing that upward move, and we're retesting the previous high. We could set up some kind of double top here. Just be aware that this still can happen. Be aware of your 2-hour charts, guys. They're still in negative territory, so if that rolls down, you're most likely going to test this lower, make a new one. So just be aware of that, but as things shift to bullish, you can just follow the 30-minute. I really believe you can. Even if you see weakness up in this area, you just want to see if that's kind of basing out one more time. Maybe the price is starting to get tight in here or something like that. But as of right now, you would say, hey, this is where we complete the cup. Now we have the handle. Can we go higher here? Yes, we can. It was up almost 30% with earnings on Snap. Yeah, I haven't paid attention to Snap in a while, but that is kind of crazy. Now, this area here for AMD, right? We get the full cup. We even build that cup a little higher. We get the handle. We can head higher here. The only problem is you're starting to create divergences. AMD's been a funky one. I haven't been trading this one lately anymore, just because I can pay attention to 2 hours. And I think there's other stocks that I trust more, especially before earnings, to trade. So AMD, now this thing's been beat up, so if it produces any kind of good numbers, this could be another euphoric move. I'm just talking about this because we could actually see a couple weeks of just euphoric buying into this. Maybe we actually do want to base out a little bit more and get some more structure before you head higher, but something like this before earnings might be a good print going on there, but we don't trade around earnings. I'm not going to take that trade. That's just my theory here. Meta, this one got beat up. Now it's pulling back. What can you do? Well, the direction was chosen for Meta as of right now. So in order to be positive, you're going to need to get into positive territory, right? We're going to need to get there. And what do you have to do that? You have to take back 453.08. You really have to take that back. I don't know why my camera's all weird today. And yeah, I'm going to the gym after this. So if you're wondering why you get to see the chest hairs, that's why. But 453.08, if you can retake that and use it and stay above it, that would mean we're probably going to go into positive territory at that point. So as we open up here, now you're looking for any kind of curling down in this area. You can even go into a 15, see that close to the center line. That's most likely what's going on here, by the way. 15-minute close to the center line, trying to decide, do I go positive and get above 453, or do I roll over here and just die out a little bit more? I'm kind of leaning towards the die out a little bit more, just because we would go fill this gap, and that's where we would most likely create some kind of 15-minute divergence down there. So paying attention to that going forward. Now, Microsoft, this is a strong move. It got a good earnings, and you have a momentum signal behind it. So I'm expecting strength from Microsoft. If we do see a pullback, I would say, hey, maybe that's going to be a little bit brief because we might get overbought, then want to base out, then go again. So now that we know the direction, we can really see if things curl back up and go positive from a lot of these moves, especially with Google, right? Google up almost, what is that, 10%. After hours, it was up as high as 15 or 16%, I think. And the 2 hour curled up, positive territory. So now you have to say that direction is chosen. What can you do now? Look at a 30-minute, look at a 15-minute, see that thing get close to the center line and curl back up into positive territory. That's what I'd be paying attention to. Going forward, looking at Netflix, this thing looks like it wants to roll down, maybe test this level again. So that's interesting. You got some overall flagging in this move, right? So we're kind of going sideways here. And we need to pay attention to any kind of break of that sideways action. What would that mean? Break of the 2 hour. The 2-hour crossing down would be your big signal that we're going to break this very important level here. But until the 30-minute actually rolls down, I'm not going to be convinced. So Palo Alto, this as well. This is starting to curl up, positive territory. We're within a flagging structure or a channel. I think it's more of a channel, right? This looks like a channel to me. So what could happen from here? Well, we could see a break to the upside, but will that be short-lived? You're going to see some kind of divergence form if you do something like this. Maybe there's some profit taking after at the end of the day today. SMCI, this thing trickling up, going positive. So that's a good sign for this so far, completing some kind of cup and handling in here. But what could happen from here? You could curl down and then curl back up. I'd like to see a strong move into this zone, then curl down, then curl up if we're going to see that positivity to the bull side. If we're going to see negativity, that 30 minutes just going to roll over and go fully negative, taking out this low, testing this low, or making a new one at that point. So that's what I'd be paying attention to. Let's go back over to the SPY, see this positive reaction, boom. Maybe go into a 15-minute for the day. You notice we're still right by negative territory, so don't be convinced like, hey, this thing can't flip the other way. We trade like water on this channel, and we just got some data this morning, so now we're paying attention to it. And one thing I wanted to look at was gold. Remember, this is one I said would most likely be bouncing from this area. Boom, look at that, 2-hour crosses up. Let's see if that bounce comes, because the inflation play is still here according to that data we got. It's not by any means fixing itself or anything like that at this point. So you have to be open to the gold, oil, all these things going higher, any energy going higher, anything like that most likely will head higher off this news. So what we want to see happen by the end of the day is this 2-hour goes fully positive. That would confirm an upward move, and most likely you are heading towards 515. For the Qs, I think this would mean if the 2-hour is able to fully go positive here, right, I think we would see a big move up to 438 going on into next week. And we have very important earnings on Tuesdays and very important earnings on Thursdays, both after hours. So Amazon and I think AMD are on Tuesday. And then you have, what's it called? Apple. And I feel like Apple and I feel like one other are on Thursday, if someone could remind me. Let's go take a look at Snap and see that huge reaction for fun. Boom, look at that huge upward move. Look at it on the daily scale here, able to finally go positive, picking a direction. So what I'd look for is my 30-minute pullbacks and just try to ride this thing, kind of swing trade that thing up. I'm 15% on Google. Should I hold or sell? I cannot decide. I mean, it's a sketchy time, right? But I would say Google probably has to back off here. I wouldn't say this is a bad place to sell because you're well outside of a lot of stuff. Most likely, if you're looking for the next move higher, you're going to see some profit taking. This is a big move, and then you'll see that curl back up. So if you don't want to be killed by all this, then you might want to take some profit there. You could always take some off the table, reload if you see that curl up, and then boom, you see that play again, but hold a little bit more up here. Maybe just play with house money on the move up now. But congrats. Well done, good trading. SPY, one thing we really want to pay attention to is this daily curling up on the MACD. That's going to be the daily curling up on the MACD. If you're able to get like another couple days of buying, you could see this thing go ballistic and then fail later on with some kind of news. Remember, we get Fed interest rate decision next week. We get labor stats next week. So there's a lot happening. TLT is up, yeah, so the yield's reacting to this, coming down just a little bit, TLT heading up. Remember, if this thing can curl up, you're probably going to see this actually go boom like this all the way to 93, so we could see that happen. We have a bunch of gaps, so you can pay attention to the gaps along the way for resistance right in here, even all the way up in here I would pay attention to if we see something crazy happen, but I'm really leaning towards this gap right here. I think this gap level $92 looks pretty good for TLT going forward. And remember, if you'd like to chat, just make sure you're subscribed. Microsoft pre-market rise pretty much died down to nothing. Why? It's Friday too, so people, if they are doing 0 DT, you're going to see profit taking here. That's why I'm like, okay, if this is a big move, what do I need to do? Well, I'd probably look at my 15-minute for now, see that get close to the center line, beat down for a while, and then see that go back up, because that's a very, very big move for the RSI there. So SPY, this thing can't, you notice on the 15-minute alone, it's not even overbought. So this is why it's like this yellow line here is very, very important, actually. And so we need to see that get above there. And as it does go above there, that means more positivity is most likely coming. If we can get to this zone, see a space out, do something like this, that would be very, very, very good. But you're above all the moving averages. Those need time to catch up. So I expect we struggle a little bit and then we pick a direction for the rest of the day. 92%, 92 is previous support level 2. Will be hard to go higher for TLT. Yeah, and I have a small play on TLT as well. So I took that same play. So I took a similar play. Now you guys know I'm holding TLT long term at 82.50, but this one here I think could be a short term little bounce here, and then we maybe get some more data next month. CPI has to come out next month. How's everyone else doing out there? We're watching the SPY try to do something crazy. It's outside of the weekly expected move. The Qs do the same outside of the weekly expected move. I think the Qs, you still need to really get above 429 to be solid. 429 level looks pretty solid to hold above. But you notice we're overbought as of right now. Excuse me, even on a 15 minute. So I want to see a big move and then just retest that level and then head back up. I think that would be the best thing for the bull side here. Microsoft probably will, just for a little bit at least today, and you're seeing that start to drop off. And the reason for Microsoft doing that is because this is a big move. It's kind of the similar thing we were saying to Google. This is a big move in one day, and with earnings, people had 0 DTE the next day. Today's Friday, so that's going to expire, plus the other options are going to expire that were set up for today. So you have 0 DTE and the people who have been holding this for a little bit around this time. So some kind of pullback would make sense. Now, would it make sense to fully reverse? I don't think so. Not at this point with the news we got, but Google I'd really pay attention to. I think this one, if it swings down, can swing back up. But you're well away from those moving averages, so most likely you move sideways, or you come a little bit down until those are able to catch up a little bit. That's what I would say for Google. But Google, we want to pay attention to it daily. You see that rolling up on the MACD. You don't necessarily want to fight against that, but this can be ripped away very quickly. So Microsoft too. That one looks like it could curl up and go positive. That means what do we get? Retest or maybe a new high. So we'll pay attention to Microsoft going forward. Let's take a look at volatility this morning. Volatility trying to scale up a little bit, by the way. So trying to go up a little bit here. What I would really look for is a 2-hour divergence to prove itself. If a 2-hour divergence can start to confirm upside, this might be a fake out, and we actually may see further downside. Now, if this is just going to be some kind of quick little pop and then drop again, well, we might be setting up some of those divergences we've been talking about this week. So thank you guys, 127 people in there. Let's smash that like button for me. Really appreciate it. If you want to learn about all this stuff, right, remember the course is $149 only for 8 days now. So $149 for 8 days until May 4th. So grab that. It's going to be very useful. You can literally take it over the weekend and come into the market next week with a brand new perspective on these indicators that can really help you out. The dollar, this thing's starting to creep up. So this is something I'm paying attention to. I kind of built this channel this morning. I was up pretty early. And overall, I'm seeing some divergences start to want to go into positive territory for the dollar. So if we start to see the dollar break out from this almost wedge, but really looking kind of like a channel at this point. If this starts to happen, well, I would be a little bit worried. I would start to think, okay, this 4-hour, if you want to see the 4-hour, look at that thing. It can curl up. What can happen after that? Well, the daily can go back to going positive as well. So even though you're getting these little crosses down, you've retested the 20. What did we talk about in our video yesterday or a couple days ago? Was a test of the 20. I think the dollar has a good chance to test the 20 before it wants to go higher. This would be a great retest. Now we start to head higher with the dollar because the news we're getting today, even though people are seeing it as, it's coming in at consensus, it's still very bad for the inflation play, actually. So it's interesting to see yields drop off this hard. Now you have a 4-hour divergence up here. 4 hours, something that I pay attention to on the yields. But the daily turning down is mainly what you want to see. You got to lose the 5, you got to curl over, and then we can see a big move from TLT. So I'll be holding this for a little bit of time. Now, one thing about what we're doing right now on the SPY is we're testing 20-day moving average. So now you would probably say actually the most important level to take back is something like 507.80, right? Taking back this indicator, taking back this trend. What am I trying to say? Trying to take back this moving average. See, when I don't have coffee, I'm all over the place. But trying to take back this moving average, maybe we see that resistance at the 50, and then we can do something like that and curl back up. I think this is the most likely scenario right now, unless volatility wants to give us that signal. So something you can do is you could probably take a hedge on volatility just in case. And where is volatility, by the way? Volatility is going towards 15. Remember, this is going to be a very important level to watch. It's going to be very, very important. The 30-minute looks like it wants to curl up. It hasn't yet, but we could get some kind of little reaction down to 15 and then see some kind of pop. So we want to look at Apple. Apple seeing another strong move higher. Now this thing could digest at any moment, so just pay attention to that. We could get some digestion out of Apple. It doesn't have earnings for a little bit of time here, so that's something to pay attention to going forward. BLT looks pretty good. All right, let's spread this thing out. So I don't want to fight against this, so I'm not shorting this. I just had a small long play, but I'm not seeing that strength from Apple to really say, like, I'm going to go ballistic. So I think this thing does try to curl down at some point throughout the next week or so before earnings. I think this has a good likelihood of pulling back. Am I taking a trade with it? No. It's outside the weekly expected move up there, so no, I'm not taking a trade with this, but I'm going to pay attention to the next swing up because that could happen before earnings. And it does have triple divergence. So that's one I might take a stab on and just use an amount of money I don't mind losing. So at this point, you would say, hey, up here is where we complete the full cup. Now we get the handle. That's more what I'm leaning towards. But if we wanted to reverse down, you're going to see this 30-minute actually go negative. Now, I'm saying this could happen, but not go negative. We could come and fill that gap and head back up, but not able to go negative here. That's the big thing. If this starts to go negative, well, then you can test this low, make a new one. So I'd be very, very cautious at that point. I'll get to the chat in 1 second. Just switching stuff around a little bit. I mean, you're holding 506. That's a great thing for the SPY, by the way. Holding 506 is very, very good. Maybe we head up towards that daily expected move, and then that's where we get some kind of pullback. Cover to load. Okay, now we're looking at the chat again. Hello, feels like indigestion. NVIDIA direction. NVIDIA, this one, it's up above its weekly expected move. Point that out. You don't necessarily have divergence on the RSI, but as you come up into this point up here, you got to be a little careful. Note that the 30-minute is still close to going negative here. If it wants to roll over, it just needs a couple, like an hour longer of selling after that to go negative, and then you can take out this low and maybe go test this one down here. That's what I'd be paying attention to for NVIDIA. If it is going to continue to see positivity, this 2 hour has to go positive. That's why I'm really saying this trend here is very important, because that would be the 2 hour going positive at that point. So if we see some resistance at this level, maybe some selling, as we do have, you know, a bunch of upward moves on a Friday where people are going to have, there's going to be more options expiring today than normal, right? So we can pay attention to that going forward, but it looks like NVIDIA might be able to curl up this daily. So if this would happen, then you're saying, okay, I think NVIDIA actually does go to 1,000 if it sees that fully happen. Now that would bank on next week not giving any bad news that rips this back down with a lower high. So we'd have to see something crazy from that. I really expect maybe earnings to be that moment, or maybe we make that move before earnings, and earnings is what rips that away. So I'm paying attention to upside just because I'm seeing a lot of positivity here. Am I playing the upside as of right now? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I just have one TLT trade. One TLT trade right up here. And that's all I'm really looking for today. Good money and happy Friday. Jose Rosario, welcome, welcome, welcome. Anthony, welcome. Rolando, hopefully that was helpful. We're doing limit times. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure you know that you can chat. As long as you're subscribed, you can chat today. That's what we do on Fridays. But strong move. Now you're starting to take the levels that you really need. So you're holding 506.50. That's what you need. You need to hold this yellow line. That's a very, very good sign for some upside. Tesla may be giving you a little divergence up here, though, so be careful. Tesla is outside of its weekly expected move, but it is a Friday, so if we close out there, you're going to get new weekly expected moves, and then those will be shifting up, and you might just get some kind of pullback down to this level down here, and then see that thing turn back up next week. So from this area, would I say, oh, take a trade? No, I'd be looking for this to do something like that first, and then curl back up into positive territory. Intel we got to look at. Because Intel just had earnings, and you saw that major drop-off. Now, Intel did look good from the technical perspective, right? It looked like, hey, this thing's been beat down for a long time. Maybe they're going to have some kind of earnings beat because the numbers aren't that rough. Let's see what they did. All right, let's see. Well, they beat on one, and then they lose on the other, so that could be seen as some bad news. I'm sure they reported something else as well. To see a bounce from here would make sense anywhere down here, but as that direction's chosen, we can hold up anywhere. There's a lot of liquidity zones in here. There's just liquidity throughout, so it's hard to pick. You just have to follow the supports all the way down pretty much and look for that bounce. So I wouldn't be trying to play a bounce. If anything, I'd look at a 30 minutes, see that rotate up towards that 5, get up towards like 33.30, and then roll down again. I think that's what you're looking for here overall. But if the Qs are able to cross on this daily, we don't see that volatility come in. Could be a good sign that we're going to just see upside from many stocks. Probably not Intel going forward. That thing looks pretty ugly. You can more so swing trade that on a 2-hour down, in my opinion. Yeah, if you really pay attention to a 30-minute or a 2-hour, and it's really in a negative trend, and you see some space there between the MACD, not to make a divergence or something, it's going to be an easy little swing down. But something to keep in mind, as we are hitting these levels, the 2-hour still can roll over, and you have a 2-hour divergence on the VIX that could confirm. Now, this hasn't confirmed yet, but this could be our retest at this point. We're going down to 1534. Where is that testing? Well, it's testing right above the 200, where we said the first real milestone is there. The first moment where we can see volatility come in, we got to get a retest of 15. If we break below that, then you're most likely heading down towards 13 or 12.12. He is exploding higher at this point. My goodness, look at that move. Solid move up for the Qs here. See if that MACD can curl over. That's going to confirm some upside. Pretty much if you hit that MACD, if that MACD crosses and you're able to go above 438.28 with some strength, you're going to test this high, you're going to make a new one. So that's the potential here. If this actually crosses, gets above the 20 and gets above 438.28, I think you test this high or you go make a new one. Support for Tesla. I think Tesla needs to back off. But it is breaking out of structure. It looks pretty good. Maybe it wants to get a small retest. You have a bunch of moving averages below you. I would really just be looking for a 30-minute pullback still. It looks like pullbacks are necessary from here unless we're just going to see euphoria. It really looks like that Tesla needs to pull back. So what would I be looking for? Well, next week, I'd probably be looking for my weekly range to the downside if that's not that big for Tesla anymore, because it already had its earnings, and then see that curl down, curl back up, continuing the positive trend. If it's going to give it up, this is going to go negative. You're going to do the same thing to the other side. So Tesla could come all the way down and fill this gap if you wanted some kind of support. It really could. Do I think that happens? No, I think it needs to get to maybe 157.50 is the level you really want to watch. You see how we were struggling to break above, and then that's where we gapped above. So you know that area is important. So 158.16, it looks like a very good level for a bounce for the next move higher if we're able to do that slowly over time. Nvidia at 849, seeing that upward move, so that's where we want to see is if it breaks through this little trend here, that could be a very, very good sign. That means the SPY and the Qs are both heading up. But remember what I said about the SPY? First area where we could get that lower high, right here. Second area we could get that lower high, probably right up here at a retest of this level up here, this trend. And then that would be open to something though, because if we do this, that'd be a big cup. What if we get a deep handle here and then we head up? So I'd really be paying attention to my dailies curling up. Can we check the Dow? Yeah, we haven't looked at the Dow yet. Let's look at that bad boy for a second. Getting a little bit of a higher low here and then starting to come back up, curling up. Not positive just yet. So what can we pay attention to? Well, look at the 2 hour. 2 hours curling down, right? Not able to go negative just yet. Could that be some kind of push higher? Well, this would be your cup and handle scenario at this point. Now, that's a deep handle. So if we are able to break through here, you actually could get a pretty good reaction. But I would just say keep your eye on volatility today, because if you just look at a 2 hour with the volatility, it looks like it needs to drop down. While the SPY is actually making an upward move, but it's going to hit some form of resistance above it, and it could actually be creating a divergence right here. So pay attention to that. We could create a divergence once we get into this zone. Might be a good time to take a small hedge just in case something crazy happens. But as of right now, it's breaking down now at a reading of 1523. So we're heading down towards that 15 number. And we still have potential here for that divergence to come into play on the 2 hour for the volatility. But as we are seeing it break through levels, really we just want to see the Qs. The SPY, can it get through that zone? And then the Qs, can you get above 438.28? That's going to be very telling for what's to come. Now, what would the probabilities say? Well, they would say for the month of April, this makes sense. But for this week, it doesn't make sense. So what if this is ripped away and then we see some kind of bounce in the last day of April? Yeah, because the month ends on Tuesday. So what if we end higher on Tuesday? That would make sense. I can just chill. I can wait for volatility to make its next move before I go short on anything. I definitely don't want to go short. This is some strength going forward, so we want to see more signals before we actually even talk really about going short. You're seeing SPY going up towards that daily expected move. That's very good. TLT. Not even close to its weekly. Close to the weekly bottom here, and actually about to break out of some form of resistance, so TLT looking pretty good here on the 2 hour. If you have a chance, you know, just pull up TLT here. Look at this on a 2 hour. It looks very pretty. Look at that. Look at that divergence. It looks very, very good for the MACD here. You have very good potential to go positive with a divergence like this. See how steep that is? It just looks really, really nice. Dollar still creeping up while the market's going up. Insiders selling into this move right now. Let's see. Let's see if this 30-minute gives us a divergence at this point. Oh, I didn't update my dailies on my other charts here. Now, if you wanted to, you could say, oh, well, if this is going to play out, what's going to happen? I'm going to take it a little shorter here. Maybe take it from this level right here. Okay, we could go up towards 441. So there is enough strength behind this move to do it. But do those sellers step in at any point? That's what I would really be paying attention to. And how you can know if those sellers are going to come in if this 2 hour starts to turn up on the MACD for volatility. I think that's what you pay attention to for today. Opinion on Tesla, I think it needs a pullback. If you look at the 30-minute for Tesla, even though it's, and I'm not going to fight against that daily momentum by any means, but if you look at the 30-minute, you have a short little divergence here. I'm really leaning towards a pullback down to something like 157.50, maybe 158.50. If you can hold up with this gap support, that would be a solid move, right? We get some kind of pullback down like this, and then we get that breakout again. And that breakout is the next one you could be into. But as of right now, it looks like the upside's dying out. We need some kind of pullback here, some kind of sideways-ish move. I haven't traded Netflix too much in the past. I think I've done it like once or twice, to be honest. But this here is just, it's not able to go positive. You see, every time it tries to go positive, you get that negativity. So what can you see from here? Well, it looks very, very flaggy. Looks very flaggy in here. Probably on a 2-hour, you're going to see it a little better, right? We can see boom like this, boom like this. Okay, what could happen here? 2-hour rolls over. So you're at a point where a lot of 2 hours could be rolling over into negative territory. And maybe we actually see that downward move after a euphoric move up like this, right? Maybe we actually get something like this still going into next week. That very well could happen. Amazon and AMD earnings, and then we have Apple earnings and a couple others on Thursday. Good morning, Sean. Your thoughts about the end of the month pump, and right after next Wednesday we have Fed rate decision. Yeah, I think we could see this pump higher for now. I'm just being aware if that pullback comes a little bit now and then we see an upward move, but I can tell you're lacking caffeine. Yeah, my voice feels different to me. But 140 people in here. Thank you guys for smashing that like button. Good morning. Right after this, we might head out, get some food, go to the gym, do all that good stuff. Try to keep the body and the mind healthy today, you know? Trade some stocks for a little bit. Maybe take my 30% on TLT, but I'll probably be holding that for a little bit. Volatility. Really, I like to find a signal to pay attention to here on volatility. For when that thing, when volatility can come back in. Touch grass, man. I might need to. I'm stuck at my desk most of the day. Nvidia to 855. Boom, look at that move. So now you would start to say, okay, this 30 minutes going to be invalidated. So now upside looks like the most likely direction. And I think we get upside until maybe that Fed rate decision at this point. I think that's what happens from here. Could get some kind of ballistic move. If we're going to see some downside, then I expect what happens actually to be some kind of reaction up until maybe those earnings, bad earnings, pull us back. And then Wednesday, Thursday, when we get that data and things like that, we start to do this, and then we start to head up over time. And then we'll pay attention to what we were looking at over here, right? This is the corrective move if that's going to happen. I actually think this is definitely possible. And even after the Fed interest rate decision, and then we see something bad. But I'm going to be paying very close attention to Fed. Pretty much it's like earnings, cool. But actual data that affects the entire market is more so what I am going to pay attention to. But as you see, there's a 30-minute divergence developing here. So if we see this roll back down, it's right by negative territory. You're most likely taking out this low, going to test this one down here at 494. So this is a time where, yeah, the Qs are going up, but they're actually creating a divergence as of right now. You want to wait till that really confirms, but as of right now, you see the divergence. So if this wanted to keep going, then I'd be more convinced for that upside. NVIDIA kind of giving you that signal. But remember, this 2 hour, on the 2 hour, you have to be able to go positive, which means you have to break through this trend. So as we are building up towards it, what could we see? Well, we see some stuff here, right? We can see if we're actually in some kind of channel. Maybe this would help us out a lot. So we're going to do this. We're going to see, hey, boom, right there. We're actually right where this channel would want to touch and start to base out. So from this area, I could see us doing something like this and then going higher. That would be actually better probably for Tesla or for NVIDIA. Now, the only other better thing is you just see it go nuts and then you get a retest, right? Something like that would be good too. But from here, you just I don't think you want to roll and go negative, start to break through this, because then you're breaking through that trend. Come and test this low down here. 2 hours going to start to roll over. Tesla beaten down now, so you see the weakness coming. Sentiment for today, pretty bullish. Gold seeing an upward move. AMD up 1.35% here. Still giving you the potential for divergence here. You need to break through these levels. You really need to break through. Close above 156.50 for AMD. That would be a positive trend type thing to do there. Apple, this guy, I'm out of Apple. I was going to take Apple to the upside with that divergence because it was before earnings, but and earnings is a little bit far away, but I think this needs to base out in some direction here. Some kind of downward move makes the most sense to me. Looking for what I want to do here. I think I want to hedge here. Just for the possibility of something pulling back, I'm going to take a small hedge. I'm not necessarily playing the upside, but I think a hedge here makes total sense. As we creep into the zone, we're just creeping in, but we're already getting overbought. As we get into that zone, at least a pullback would make sense here early on into next week, especially when you go look at Apple, right? Apple needs that pullback in order to really go higher. Okay, let's look at Amazon. Amazon's probably going to need a pullback to go higher. NVIDIA's probably going to need a pullback to go higher. AMD's probably going to need a pullback to go higher. So when you see everything that probably needs a pullback to go higher, well, let's keep it simple. If everything looks like it probably needs to pull back in order to go higher, what's most likely to happen, keeping it simple? Well, a pullback's most likely to happen here. So we'll pay attention to that going forward. But now volatility not giving you that signal up, I'm more taking it as a hedge. I'm not trying to take it as like a big play. I'm just saying if TLT drops off for any reason, I have volatility in that. I have volatility going against this. So if this is going to keep going up, then I suspect the market goes up, actually, with this. But if this wants to go down while the market goes up, I'll pay attention to that because then we could be seeing that difference. So maybe it's a good time to look at HYG. HYG curling up. Positive territory is there, right? Cup. Now, you built that cup a little too high. I would say that. I think you built this cup a little too high. Actually, maybe not. You know, previous resistances here, we gap below it, so you know it's important. So actually completing the cup in this area looks good. Deep handle here. Now, who's to say this handle needs more structure to head up? That's what I would say about that. But we're starting to reach overbought territory as we approach this level. Usually you want to see like like this, because then you aren't overbought as you cross through. So yeah, just to show you volatility, what we're paying attention to, there is a 30-minute divergence here. You probably could pull up an hourly. The hourly is probably going to look the cleanest. You see the hourly here. Now we could see that drop off for quite some time. You see we have a lot of time that could just drop this off. We could do something like this, go all the way down until next Monday, and then see some kind of rip after some earnings or something. So paying attention to volatility, it looks like some divergence is forming here. If I wanted to go into a 15-minute, I'm probably going to see a divergence in the nearest price action, right? You see this little divergence forming here. Then we have big divergence across the way for the hourly and things like that. So I like my 2 hours, though. I trust my 2 hours. They've been very, very good to me. And you see the dollar just skyrocketing here. So be very, very cautious today, guys. Even though we're seeing this upward move, we just touched that zone. This is the first zone where we said a lower high could really come in this area. So if we're not able to get above that throughout the next week or so, it most likely means we're turning down. That would say, hey, where are we going to turn down to? Well, we're probably going to turn down like this, and then we can pay attention if we create a divergence. If you get a 2-hour divergence down here, it's going to be much better. It's going to be a much better base, and then that big bounce will come later on. Thoughts on Uber chart? Can you check gold? Gold looks like 2 hours going to roll up, Mark. The inflation play is still here. Now, those yields are dropping off, but gold, this is where I really actually liked gold for a bounce. So I would say if the 2 hour can curl up, look at that, 2 hour curled up. Now you just need that to go positive. So if you take a play here, just make sure that's going positive. At this point, you could even look at a 30-minute, right? The 30-minute up by the negative positive territory here, right in the center. So if that curls over, then you're out. Google selling off with a move like this, where is support? You don't necessarily want to talk about support after a really big gap like that. Sorry, Google, right? Google. What you want to more look for is, this is going to pull back because it's Friday and 0-day to DTE and stuff like that is happening at the same time. So you can see this pull back. You're looking for the next scoop up. Where could we really go to? You can come all the way back and fill this thing. You can. If we get bad news that shakes it up, you can really come all the way back down. You can. Now, if you're looking for actual like support and resistance, well, this is why I said it's not the best to look at for support and resistance. Why? Well, what's up here? Nothing. There's nothing up here. You're in the unknown now. So who's to say if this thing goes ballistic? Who's to say if it fades at this point? Nobody would know. I would just say if we're going to see more positivity, 30-minute curling down, then curling back up. So I just pay attention to these highs here, 162.20, and then maybe this level here. So 151.74, 162.20. NVIDIA is still pumping. Is it still pumping? Look at that thing. That thing looks like it wants to curl up and go positive. So if that curls up, that's where you have the opportunity to possibly even go to all-time high. You really do here for NVIDIA. You have it. You're breaking through this, what we would call a flag, right? What am I hedging with? I like to hedge by buying like a little option on UVXY. I do it pretty often. Just when I'm at a moment, I just do it. And sometimes it makes you good money. Sometimes it just goes away. You never use a lot. Now, how do I know if I want to keep that option? Well, I might just keep it in case something bad happens over the weekend. All right, that's maybe why I keep it, because it looks like volatility could be turning up right here with divergence in the near term, divergence across the way here. What if this just goes boom? Well, that can go positive, so I just want to be aware of that. And the reason I'm talking about this at all is because of the dollar and how it's behaving right now. You see that thing just moving up. So what could happen from here? Well, a 4 hour could cross over. That's already happened. Okay, so now you have that potential for that volatility to really come in with the dollar climbing higher. So you see this, we beat down to the center line. When we're able to cross and go positive, that's the big moment. So you have to go positive here, and that very well could happen. How many days out do you usually buy UVXY? I'm holding it for a very, very short term, usually only about 2 weeks. Usually about 2 weeks. If I think extreme volatility is coming, like I'm seeing like actual crash type things happening and I want to take an actual play on it, I'll take a month out and treat it like a real trade. But when I'm just hedging with it for a couple of weeks, I'm going to take it for a couple of weeks, buy a little position, and then see what happens with the volatility. This is pretty much a time where it's like things look very bullish, right? Doesn't everything look very bullish? It really does. But I'm seeing some signals that say, what if it reversed from here? Like reversing from here does make sense. So therefore, I'm going to take a small hedge in this area. 4 hours still negative, 2 hours still negative, trying to go positive as of right now. That's the thing you need to happen. But this is my first sell zone. So as we approach that, and we're getting, overbought on these 30 minutes, I expect at least some kind of pullback here. What's the problem with that pullback though? So the reason that I'm kind of saying, hey, I'm going to take a hedge just in case. Yeah, I can see something crazy happen. and that hedge might not work out, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to see TLT most likely continue to grow. But if any kind of selling comes in on here because it's Friday, we could see that dump. What would that do? Cross over this MACD. What's the problem here? Divergence on the MACD, divergence on the RSI at the same time. So there is a setup to head lower here. I don't necessarily use ATR, and trying to decide how low Google can go when it's up in the unknown, it is very impossible. The only thing that a technical person could do when you head up to an all-time high is, one, you could probably take the previous low. You could probably go like this and look for a 50% retracement. And this is most likely what's going to happen. Look for the golden pocket or something like that down here at the 61.8 fib. And then we see that pull down to this area, and then that goes. That's one thing you could do. So you could pay attention to all of these zones here. Anytime you see it touch one, cross through another, okay, that might be the next move. I'm seeing the 30-minute curl up on the MACD, blah, 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 right? But if someone's telling you, oh, there's support right here at 170, how? You don't have any data up here. You have zero. The price has never been up here, right? So it's impossible to do. If you wanted to play this, you'd mostly just want to see 30-minute curl down, curl back up. That's the best thing you can do. Be patient. You don't need... Now, if you want to fade this move, I totally understand it, and you have daily ranges for that because you're a part of the Patreon, right? So if you're part of the Patreon, I hope that makes sense, Luke, but you're part of the Patreon, so you can pay attention to dailies. If it's outside the daily, you could probably expect that move to rotate back down to the daily expected move. Even if it's outside the top, it could rotate to the top of it, to that upside, because they act like magnets. So you get above it, people sell, because that's all they expect, right? If everyone expected it to get to 180 and it gets to 200, wouldn't you be like, holy crap, it went to 200, I'm going to sell? I think Google has the opportunity to fall as long as this 5-minute wants to curl down. I think the 5-minute could be something you could watch, maybe even pull up those fibs, right? See some kind of move down, then another move up. But that most likely will take some time. And I would just be cautious. You're entering an area for the SPY that could be worrisome. You are inside the monthly, but you're outside of the weekly. We could see that profit taking come in. The only thing is, the reason we're not seeing selling yet is because you have a big expected move up to 515. So really, this is still expected at this point, which just tells you we'd have to get all the way up there to see that profit taking most likely come in. So if this wants to linger here by end of day, though, that's where I think profit taking comes in. Is it too late? You guys know I don't do 0 DTE. Is it too late? Yeah. Yeah, it is. If you were going to buy anything, it would have been yesterday with this crossing up right here on this bar. So you would have bought at 502.50 and then played any upside, and then you'd be selling today. That would have been my play that I'd be thinking about. Because remember, we told you yesterday before we hopped off, make sure that 30 minutes not curling back up, because that means most likely the next move is higher. That's exactly what happened. If you want to learn about this stuff, there's a course, right, for $149 for the next 8 days. You can go grab that down in the description. But right now, you just want to see, hey, I'm into a zone. This is a sell zone. Okay, I have divergence in this zone. What could happen if this rolls back down? Well, we could actually take out this low. So this is where you want to be cautious, not where you want to be FOMO'd in. Not saying it can't make an upward move, right? Not saying it can't. You just need this daily to cross first. If this daily crosses, you know, we could see that upward move. You just have to get above the 50, and you have to get above probably this level right here, this low, 513.17. The key is we have it set up a little bit better. So if that curls up on the MACD, you could see what happens. Well, it's the same for every other thing. If it curls down on the 30-minute, you test the high, you can make a new one. Okay, what do we have to do to test this high? We have to get above 438. So if we get above 438, then we can see a test of that high, maybe even go make a new one, and then pay attention to our monthly expected moves for May, which come out on Patreon next week. Do I think Meta keeps tanking for the rest of the day? Well, Meta's one that you wanted to pay attention to, a 15-minute, getting towards positive territory. Remember, the direction was chosen for Meta, and it is down. So in order to go up from here, you have to retake that 453.08. It's a very, very important level. But if you just see this MACD curl down, negative territory, what's going to happen? Boom. Okay, we test this low, we make a new one. With this type of structure, you're going to make a new low if this crosses over. Now, where could that low be? If you're looking for a possible area to invest again, well, look, you have a nice gap right here at 394. So we could go from 438 all the way down to 394 and still have a divergence in play on the 15-minute. NVIDIA up 5% now, so this is the big moment for NVIDIA. You want to see 2-hour go positive right when we cross the trend. Notice how what we say is happening. Okay, what's happening? Right as we try to break through this trend, you're going to get the opportunity. Does this go positive, or do I see sellers step in? I think people will try to ride this for a little bit, but if any selling steps in, you could see a little bit of a flush here. What would I expect? Well, I want to get rid of my lines now because those ain't happening. So we'll get rid of those. Maybe we'll keep the trend at the bottom and we'll say, okay, if this wants to roll down from this area, what could happen? Well, I'm pretty high up there. I don't have divergence, so most likely the next move higher will break through right around this area. So not saying it can't happen right now. That would be very bullish. You get a retest and then you go again. Overall, I'm just saying, hey, the 30 minutes cooked. So even if this does go ballistic for a while, it's going to digest it at some point, you know, unless you're seeing some kind of crazy short squeeze. But as of right now, you'd say positive territory is a good thing. I'm waiting for my opportunity. Maybe I need to look at something else. AMD, this one's starting to push above that high. That's a very, very good thing. Now you don't have potential for divergence here, so we can head higher. Where could we go to? I'd be paying attention to right here. This level up here of 165, 164, right in that area there looks pretty good, and we can pay attention to that to the upside. Maybe we want to pull up our daily expected moves or something like that for AMD. What is the 50-day moving average? It's pretty much like a calculation of the average of the price on a 50-day, so on a 50-day basis. So that's pretty much all you're saying. So overall, you would say the easiest way to think about it is if you're above the 50, you're above the what am I trying to say? The average price for the SPY on a 50-day moving average. So pretty much you're above it. That means you're above the 50. That means you're above. Oh God, I can't even explain this right. I explained it in my course way better, but what's the best way to put it? This is calculating the price based on your 50 days, 50-day. Oh my God, I'm not doing it well. Someone's got to help me out now. But pretty much getting above it is a good thing. I am, you guys can see the difference when I don't have my coffee. What? She goes, you need coffee, man. I'm not explaining anything very well today, and I'm sorry about that. Yeah, there you go. The running average price for the last 50 days. I don't know why I was struggling so hard. Literally like the average of the last 50 days. So I'm tired. That's why I need to go to the gym and get a good meal. Thank you guys for covering my tracks. Don't tell on me. Not necessarily. I mean, I guess if you want to consider it the Fed info, PCE came in at 0.3, expected at 0.3. Actually, going through data might not be a bad thing. Let's really see if that was bullish or bearish up in this area. Let's look at this for just a split second here. Okay, core PCE coming in at 0.3, so it's consensus. Remember, this is how we treat this data. Could anyone convince themselves this is good? Oh, we expected 0.3. Okay, it still means we're at 0.3. Now, 0.3 is the highest low number. That is a good number. Now, personal income coming in at 0.5. That was pretty much expected, but personal spending going up to 0.8. So the inflation play is still here because you're spending more than your income, which means more debt, which means more things like that. It's not a good scenario. This is actually inflationary still. And guess what? Your inflation 5-year expectation going up from 2.8 to 3 now. So that is going up. And then the consumer sentiment or consumer expectations final 76, so coming in lower. So a lot of this inflation expectation 3.2. So a lot of those coming in higher. That's why I'm worried about this area here, even though I'm seeing a buy signal. I haven't seen the MACD confirm that. I haven't even seen the RSI confirm that. It's not above on the RSI, not above the center line. So I still have the opportunity to fade this move. But we're taking back the 20, okay? So that is a very, very good thing. But as we take back the 20, I'm seeing a small green bar on volatility here. Small green bar on volatility starting to pop up. Any plays I'm in today? Just TLT. Just TLT for some upside here. So I can look up my TLT play real quick. See what that guy's doing. Looks like it is up 34% today. But I'm going to hold it for a little bit. I think we could see some kind of big reaction here. But pretty much, like, doesn't this look like the stock market? So if this reaction happens, then the stock market most likely makes that move upward. So I might want to pay attention to this right here, see if that's actually able to cross over. 2 hours curling up into positive territory, that kind of thing is really what I want to pay attention to at these levels. But it really looks like the 10-year needs to back off. So I'm playing it. But volatility's already backed off. So you notice volatility's not up here trying to come down now. It's already backed off. So we can pay attention to a signal. What is that? 2 hour divergence. If that confirms, you're most likely seeing another push higher for volatility. Now, does higher mean above this high? No, you're just going to see a push of volatility. Does that set up a lower high at that point? That would be a good thing. Now you'd have a point here. You'd have a point here. You could build something with this. You could go like that. You could do a lot with this if we get some more price action. And the reason we're talking about volatility is because look at the dollar. That thing's about to break out. 2 hours about to go positive. 4 hours curling up. We actually could see something dramatic. You guys be careful. You know, if you're going to do anything, put stops in throughout today. And if you're going to do anything longer term, just be open to hedging at this point, because we could even get geopolitical news over the weekend or something like that. Now, I'm not saying this has to happen right now. It's just when the 4 hour does curl up, that's not a good sign, especially if we break through this right here, this flag, I would say. So volatility creeping down. I'm not saying, hey, take a big play on volatility. I'm just saying you do have potential here for a divergence outside of the weekly expected move. It's on a Friday, so take it with a grain of salt. What if something geopolitical happens and TLT booms because people run to safety and the volatility creeps up and the SPY falls and stocks fall? That could happen. Do I think it's going to happen? Not really. Not really. All right, guys, I'm going to take a short 2-minute break. I'm just going to leave you on the SPY on this 30-minute. You guys tell me if this thing confirms by the time I get back. I'm just kidding. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. I'm just going to say good morning to the girls, and I'll be right back. So I'm going to say good morning, use the restroom, and I'll be right back. Hey, we like to see a dingleberry. And we're back. That was quick. And now what are we seeing? Uh-oh, what if this sell zone proves to be something? So we just want to keep track of what's going on around the market. Checking on the Dow, we can check on that real quick. 30-minute rolling up. Now the Dow not even testing these levels yet. Keep that in mind. The Dow not confirming a test of those levels just yet. So anytime this curls down, it's in negative territory. So pay attention to that for the Dow. Positive reaction. You need to get above this level here. 38.5k. And the other one, SPY is moving up towards the sell zone, yes. Microsoft is finally moving. Which direction is that thing moving? Yeah, see, it's starting to fade this. So now you're worried about divergence up here. Meta, seeing that turn down. Look at that, the 15-minute. Did the 15-minute cross? All right, it's about to. So a little bit more selling in this move. You know, you can take an opportunity here. The RSI crossed below the 50, the center line here. So after that brief pop up, cross back through the center line. Okay, stop in place. Now see if we make that next downward move to test this low. Most likely go make a new one. Yields still heading lower. TLT still heading higher, but TLT coming up into an area where it's going to need to consolidate. So 30-minute, I just want to see what that looks like. Well, that looks pretty vertical, doesn't it? It looks pretty vertical, so that would tell me, hey, this less likelihood to roll over. Usually if it's more closer to this orange line here, right, we see that kind of curled down. That would be the nearest price action crossing through the average price action. So boom, crossing down like this. I'm just waiting for this 30-minute to give me one signal up here, and then I'll say, okay, volatility can come back in, and my hedge is probably going to work out for me, but we'll have to see. Main signal to pay attention to with volatility is the 2-hour crossing up. I think the 2-hour crossing up is a bigger signal at this point. And thank you guys so much if you're subscribed, because if you're commenting on here, if you're chatting, you're subscribed. So thank you guys so much for being subscribed. Really appreciate it. Let's go take a look at Google. I want to see how that thing's reacting to. Remember, it's up in no man's land, but boom, selling off. So something you can pay attention to with Google. Let me look on mine here. Actually, let me pull up my weekly, my daily ranges as well. The 170.61 looks like the first area where you could see support. So like 170 looks like a good spot to find that support, right? If you were a part of the Patreon, you know that already. How does TLT work? Well, you're pretty much just saying it's kind of like an ETF. So if bonds are being bought, TLT goes up. If this yield pulls down, TLT goes up. So this is just a way to play the bonds in an ETF without buying an actual bond. But TLT works like this. The 10-year goes down, TLT goes up. That's pretty much all you need to know. So you see how this is beaten down, beaten down, beaten down. That means that the 10-year has been going up and up and up and up. So you can pay attention to the 10-year as well. 20-year. Probably has 4-hour divergence up here, actually. It does. So this looks like a good place for TLT to see some kind of bigger pop over time here. We'll have to see what happens. We just want to pay attention if volatility is creeping back up. I'll be taking your course this weekend. Oh, did you already grab it, Bernie? Did you already grab it and look at a section or anything? And we'll look at TFC while we ask Bernie about it. Right, let's see. 30 minutes what I'm going to pay attention to here. See how 30-minute crossed up through the center line. You complete the cup and handle. Hmm. I would wait for a little more confirmation. I know the 30-minute already curled up. I would wait for a breakout above $39. If I see that breakout happen, then this hourly is going to turn up. So the hourly could turn up. That would mean another positive move. Just be cautious. Most likely you're going to see something like this and then it pull back before it hits higher too. Yes, sir, but I was traveling when I bought it. Good luck. It's a lot of fun. Like it is. It's very interesting. All I hear are good things. A lot of people saying they have a brand new perspective for it. So I really appreciate it. And like I said, I say it in the course all the time. This isn't something where I want to leave you in the dust. I really want you to, if you're really dedicated to becoming a better trader, I want you to be able to ask a few questions about the course. So I give my email in the course a lot. That way you can send me a direct message. Or if you're part of Patreon, you can send me a message on there. But overall, it's a great opportunity to learn without spending a ton of money. And Luke came in here, a guy that took the course, and he was able to make his money back in one trade. So it's just like, it's an amount of money that anyone could make that money back as long as they really listen to the info and build a strategy around it. And the good part about that is I talk about my strategy and I give you my bear market strategy for when volatility is higher. And you could just use that. You could wait for volatility to be high and then just use that. It's very, very good, and it's everything that I do. It's literally everything that I pay attention to right there, right on your computer. And you get to take it multiple times when you buy it. It is yours. It's a one-time payment. There's no extra fees or anything like that. You probably got to pay tax or something, but overall, it's just, a good opportunity to learn, especially if you're coming in new. It would be very, I wish I knew all these things when I was new. If I knew all these things when I was new, do you know how many times I wouldn't have lost money on my Zillow earnings trade, right? Because I don't trade around earnings anymore. I also probably wouldn't have traded it anyway because now I know about weekly ranges and things like that. I wait for things to hit extremes before I take positions. So I know when to get out of trades. So I know how to do that. I can make daily ranges now. It's so helpful, and it'll teach you as well how to make some ranges with an easy method. So you don't have to do some complicated calculation, find the implied volatility. I give you an easy way to do it as well. Is the course for day traders or swing traders? It can be for anyone. It literally, the course is built to be for anyone, and then I show you how to trade in a volatile market because that's a more complicated market. Once we have seen the crash and we start to base out and we start to, buy up from lower levels, then I might release a swing trading course just so you know the exact method to swing trade. Or at least what I do to swing trade. That's probably the better way to put it. Because swing traders can do things a little bit differently. I mainly like to swing trade on a daily chart. Swing trading is so much easier. But that's why you need a course to learn the more complicated times. So that's why that course is going out now. Once I believe we're complete, a lot of this debt or something has been priced out of the market, right? Priced in. And so we see some kind of drop and we see things fade pretty good. And then we're in a place where, okay, now we can start to base out, dramatically base out and see some upside. Then we'll talk about swing trading a lot more. But pretty much if you're in a positive trend, you can use everything in the course in order to do that. You can still use everything in the course and follow that information, and you can do it yourself. You just want to be confirming moves higher. Swing trading crash course is pretty much like Google, right? Google just saw a massive move up. Okay, so how would I swing trade this? Well, let's look from a daily perspective. Where would I be swing trading? Okay, so an easy swing trade here, and this is what you're going to learn in the course that I make about swing trading, but you can learn this stuff in my course right now. You just have to kind of put the pieces together because I'm talking more about a volatile market, but pretty simple. Above the 200, get a crossing up, okay, buy. Then that thing rides up, sell. Sell right around this level here. You get into this level, well, this isn't a beat down at this point, so I'm looking for a big downturn to get back into this move, even from a swing trader. So what I'm teaching you is how to trade this. And then later on, I'm going to teach you how to trade this. But you can do it yourself. You really can. the info is so good. If you just understand it well, you will be able to make money off of these trades. Selling a call versus buying a put. So if you sell anything, if you sell a call, sell a put, it means that you are willing to sell your stock at that price. So if it does reach that price, you might be forced to sell that stock, right? So that's the whole point in there. So pretty much, if you're selling it, you probably own the stock, right? So you own 100 shares of something. And then it's just saying, I'm betting it's not going to go there, but if it does, I'm willing to sell it. Therefore, whoever is willing to buy it at that price has to pay a premium if it would say, selling a call if it would go down, right? So if it would go down, then they still would have to buy it at that price point. So the value of yours goes up while theirs goes down. So a lot of the time you want to sell calls like at levels like this. When you see this cross up on the MACD, go positive, all that good stuff, sell a call right here, or sell a put right here. Why? Because the sentiment was very down. Right? So the sentiment's very down. That means people are going to say, oh, this is going down, this is crashing, this is crashing, this is crashing, and then you sell that to them, and then this just continues to go up. They start to lose money. You make your money. So, but if you would sell the put here and say you're selling a price point of 132 and then it gets to that level, then technically you have to sell at that level. If that keeps going and you hold on to that, ooh, my goodness. But the class works on this as well, so you can see similar things with the SPY. Now, this has been very trickling up, so this was more you want to swing trade on a 2-hour or a 4-hour in this when it's tight like this and it just rides the 20. But you can see it down here when things get a little choppy down towards the 200. What could you be doing? Well, you could be not necessarily swing trading too well, but you could be swing trading, right? Buy, sell, crosses up, buy, sell, so you don't make much there. But then this one here, you have divergence behind, buy. If you didn't get faked out by this or faked out by this, you'd probably just be riding this all the way up. Swing trading's great for this, and you can learn this in the course. This is going to teach you about divergence. So if anything, the course will teach you the best times to go bullish and the best time to take a swing trade to the upside. So that's the benefit to the course. You get more info than what a swing trading course would give you, actually. You really do. So highly encourage it over the weekend. I'm glad some people are able to grab it while they're out, but take it over the weekend. That is awesome. I think you will come back and see a whole different perspective. I think you will see markets completely differently. I think you'll understand indicators completely differently after you take that course, because that's all I'm hearing in the feedback. But yeah, you can literally use it right here. We could use it right here, right? So the course itself, right? Triple divergence. All right, this is how we knew there was going to be some kind of bounce. There's the bounce. How could we head up? So it's good to learn structure and things like that too, which we talk about a little bit in the course here. But pretty much here, now what are you saying? Okay, well, a swing trader would say beat down, but I'm below the 200, so I'm not necessarily swing trading. If anything, I'm swing trading downside. So what does this say? Crosses down right here, boom. Okay, you're in a short position because you're below the 200 at this point. You see that pull back. Okay, now you have the potential to go positive. You can swing trade this up if you'd like as well. So you're pretty much just going up, sell, down, buy, sell. You know, you're moving quick. That's why I don't like to do a 30-minute. I much prefer in a bullish market to just do a daily, right? And then see a big curl up, and then you can swing trade all the way up. Boom, right there. And then you just hold, see some kind of beat down, and then you see that curl back up, buy. Okay, hold. Play predictions based on your 15, 30, and 2-hour frames. Yeah, and those are great time frames to pay attention to. I've had the most success with 30-minute and 2-hour time frames, and we talk about those a lot in the course. I give you the golden setup. So if you want to see an example of where the course really would help you, and Apple actually seeing another upward move there. Damn it. Right here, The course teaches you how to understand. Everyone said the market was crashing here and going to go to nothing. We were one of the only channels saying this is probably going to go up to an all-time high. And the reason that we knew that was you're very compiled up. You have the breakout, the 200s right here, the timing of the fundamental side, right, with the economic data wasn't lining up. Inflation was coming down. Boom. That big move happens for Apple. So you'll learn about how to get into trades like this. And if you really look at this from an options perspective, if you're able to take this, right, boom, all the way up to, let's say you sell even at this point right here, 8%. 8% in a month, if you just take a month out play, you'll be good. How much is the course? The course is down in the description. It's $149 for the next 8 days. So it's $149 until May 4th, guys. So that's why that's why you're hearing me talk about it a lot. I think it is really helpful. And whenever I give a discount, I talk about it a lot more because I want you guys to benefit from it. NVIDIA can't see a break. Let's go look at NVIDIA for a second. Ooh, it popped out for a second. Did you see that pop out? Popped out for a second. So it's really trying to break through that level. It's going to struggle here. So even if you're bullish, you would say, hey, yeah, it's struggling right here. What would I like to see? Well, I want a strong move out of this. What happens? What if I come back into the zone? We actually talked about this a little bit. If you break through this, now you can use this zone as support and head higher. So at this point, you would say this is probably the most important cup. So now a handle would make total sense. A handle would make total sense here. So I'm expecting something like that to come. If it doesn't come, then that means we're probably just going to see a euphoric move. We're going to get that retest in the future. I just want to be patient. This can roll over, right? The 30-minute down here can roll over, and then that's when I'll take my play to the upside if that positivity is going to continue. So boom, 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 boom. This happens, boom, there it is. This happens on the MACD, boom, there it is, right? So that's when I would take the next play higher, not necessarily right at this moment. Not saying it can't go higher, the daily can take over, but from a trading perspective, that's what I would look for. Volatility's up. Okay, so let's take a peek at volatility. Still not up enough, though. You got to curl up. You got to break through structure in order for volatility to fully come back in. So pretty much this 30-minute has to go up, go positive, and break through this trend. That's a lot to ask, because if that happens, but if all that happens, you have the 2-hour divergence that could curl up and go positive here. And the reason we're paying attention to this 2-hour divergence is because the SPY on the 2-hour still is by that center line, so you can roll over at any moment. Then maybe we're saved by some earnings. Course was worth every penny, was perfectly discounted, no brainer. Thank you so much, Luke. Thank you for saying that. Really appreciate that. I'm glad that it's been able to help. That's the main thing. The reason that I push it so much now is because there's a discount, and I keep hearing about how much it's helped. Any thoughts on Microsoft? Microsoft daily MACD needs to curl up. This 2-hour divergence could take over. You could see some positivity for some time above the center line right here. The only problem with this is you're in negative territory still. So you want to pay attention to how you can get screwed, right? You want to pay attention to both sides at the same time. What do you have up here? Well, I have a divergence between these levels. So if this 30-minute crosses down, what's going to happen? Well, negative territory is right there. And the bad part about where we are at with Microsoft is there's a way up and a way down. So we want to pay attention to both sides of the coin. So one side would be if this fully goes negative, we test this low, make a new one, then you could form a divergence for some kind of bounce like this. But if you wanted to remain higher, we could see this move sideways, even a little down, and do something like this. You see the neckline right here, left head, right shoulder coming in. So that's how I would look at it. Am I going to buy Microsoft at this point? No. But am I going to buy it later? Maybe, if I see this play out. Calls, I'm buying your course because you bought me so much. Also, Ari bought 460, 890 shares, and now it's mooning. Good morning. Well done, Miles. That's what I'm talking about. And good luck with the course. I hope you enjoy it. The link's down in the description. Remember, guys, 149 for just a few more days, so pay attention to that. But yeah, I think you're going to get some good stuff in there, Miles. And if you are able to ask some questions, right, you're able to do that. I give my email away tons. It gave me clarity to my trading plan to take confident trade. I think that's the part that I'm hearing about the most, actually, is understanding the MACD. But then when we talk about MACD, when it's coming up with the 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade, I literally go through my mindset when I took an Apple trade, and I show you exactly what I'm looking for. I show you the golden setup. I show you the 5 reasons to take the trade. And guess what? It plays out like 85-90% of the time. I've back tested a lot of my stuff. And if you just pay attention to those type of signals, you're going to be successful in this market. As long as you do the other things too. Control your emotions, control your risk management. But thank you guys so much for talking highly about the course. I really, really appreciate it. And I think it could help a lot of people out, just like it's helped you. So thank you for pushing it. I'm still watching volatility on my other screen. Microsoft just really paying attention for a pullback here. No reason as we're overbought. If anything, my reason to buy was right at this crossing up right here. Right here was a reason to say, okay, now we're not going to confirm a 2-hour down or something like that, right? The 2-hour here did actually confirm down. So that's where you'd be worried. That's why this trade was so hard with earnings. Okay, this trade was a lot more difficult with earnings because you didn't have this confirmation till this bar. So that's why it was a little difficult. I would look for some kind of dip to get back into at this point. And then maybe this 2-hour can go negative or can go positive, and then we see that daily roll up. So with Microsoft, if you're going to see more positivity, you're going to see this daily MACD roll up into positive territory, and then you're going to say, okay, a big move is here. But since that big move is not happening as of right now, I mean, it is a good move, but it hasn't crossed up yet. SPY's in an area where we could see some selling come in. So we're testing the 20. I'm not fully convinced yet that this is going to just bounce up and we're going to go to new all-time highs. I have too many things going on the SPY that could lead to downside. Until those things are erased, I have to pay attention to them. And volatility now starting to get a tiny bounce, actually going green for the day. Only place you actually get someone who wants you to win. Buy this course. You will not regret it. Hey, I really appreciate it, Miles. Thank you. That's very true. It's like I have no reason to not want you to be successful. Does the course have detailed charting lessons? It has. I mean, maybe someone could attest to that. It depends on what you mean by detailed charting lessons. We're looking at the charts the entire time. We are looking at the charts the entire time and explaining why these indicators are important. And I think a lot of courses don't do that. They tell you what they are, how to use them, but why are you doing those types of moves? Why are you using it in that way is something that I try to touch on. Anyone know how to fix? I'm using Chrome. I have Chrome too. Maybe turn off ad blocker for a moment. If you're on YouTube and you have, if the YouTube's funky, YouTube did a thing where they make people's computers act funky and work harder, whoever has ad blocker on. I had to turn my ad blocker off on YouTube, which is funny because I pay for premium. I like YouTube, so. IWM pulling back. We haven't looked at IWM today. I think this would be fun. So IWM not able to come up to this high up here. You have to be worried this 30-minute could curl back down, and that looks like something that could happen right now. 865. I'm guessing you're talking about NVIDIA. NVIDIA, just be careful going upside here. This is something you'll learn in the course. You just wait for the better opportunity. There's going to be a better opportunity somewhere. In my opinion, I'm not saying you're wrong, saying it can't go up. I just think it wants to go test a level first, right? Even testing this level right here of 840, 841, very important level. Now we're back above that. Retest. Okay, now we can head off to the races. But until the SPY gets rid of these divergences and sees some kind of rapid move, I'm not convinced. Right when we touch the sell zone, this is why you're a subscriber on this channel, right? We make some good info, some good areas to pay attention to. This was it. We touch the bottom of that sell zone, boom, that starts to head down. Hypothetically, imagine having $2 million and you have two options. Keep it and wait for a year of invest all in the SPY or the Qs for the next 6 months. Right now, I would wait. Yeah, I think waiting here makes total sense. It really looks like in the next 6 months we will see a downturn. I would say I would probably wait a full... Actually, yeah, 6 months sounds pretty good. I think 6 months sounds good. I think we could see some bullishness now. Did inflation fears go away? No. The data today, sure, you came in at consensus, but you're coming in at the highest good number you can get, 0.3 for PCE. So that's like the highest good number that we would allow for today because, well, that's also what we expected. Now, the thing that's a problem is personal spending is higher than personal income. So that means that we are spending more than we are making, which just is a bad recipe in any scenario, from saving in your savings account to the overall stock market to the government. The government does it the worst. So anyone that's pro-government in any way, I highly suggest you rethink that because right now the government is spending, what, $1 million for every $100,000 they spend or something like that. The gold hitting down. Ah, dang it, gold. Come on now. Okay, so now this is why we pay attention to both sides. Even though this is an area where gold can scoop up, what's happening? Well, I'm curling down. What does that mean? Well, this could curl down into negative territory on a 30-minute, and we want to look out for a divergence before we see that next upward move. So maybe we want to go look at a daily, see if there's any moving averages we could go test. Well, if we were going to test an area, we mentioned this a while back, where are we going to test? Most likely something around 205.65. I think 205.65 would be a great area. Boom, we see that come out, and then we see that go back up. Inflation, yeah, I guess it's kind of saying that it's coming out of the market as of right now, but I think the inflation play will come back still. I think it will come back still, unless this was enough. Unless this was enough to fight against it, right? The bond market doing the work for the Fed at this point. If this was enough, right, getting above this 4.362 for some time, getting above 4.495, this right here could have been enough to fight inflation for a little bit. I would see if this wants to do something like this and then come back up in the future. Does the SPY have a 5-minute bearish divergence? Most likely. Now, 5-minute, guys, you want to be very careful with that. The reason that I'm not a day trader is because I tried to do it, but a lot of my moves took multiple days to play out, and then it just frustrated me. So I became more of a position style that is willing to sell early. I don't see divergence up here for the SPY on the 5-minute. I don't see it. So right now you're seeing a strong move. You're actually consolidating. Now you can see another upward move. How do bonds fight off inflation? Okay, so buying of a bond makes the yield go down. So when people sell their bonds, the yields go up, which puts pressure on loans. So if TLT goes down, then the yields are going up. When yields go up, that makes it more expensive for interest rates. So that makes it more expensive or a worse interest rate to buy a house, a worse interest rate to get a loan, a personal loan, a worse interest rate to get a credit card. All of those things happen when these yields rise. And the reason that that's bad is because it creates slowing in economy. It creates slowing in economy because a lot of these stocks, like say a growth stock like even Tesla, they really need money all the time. They need to keep growing. And the fact that they're always taking out loans, so when you make those loans more expensive, it's less likely that they take big amounts, and therefore the growth slows down or even comes down. Found the link from your YouTube page. Okay, good. I'm sorry about that, Brian. It might be funky. Is the link not in the description today, guys? Someone go check if that course link is down in the description and click on it. Make sure it's working properly. Did the SPY cross the MACD on the 30-minute? We'll have to find out. Not just yet, though. I don't think it has yet. Nope. So once you see this cross down, then that's kind of confirming some divergence. So I'd be very cautious in this area, especially with volatility looking like this. It has the same 30-minute little divergence right here, 15-minute divergence, 2-hour divergence, all right there. I think reason Tesla reported bad earnings was due to high finance costs for customers, like how interest rates are high. It could be. They could just be selling less. So that's why they could just be selling less because the car is expensive. So that's why you're seeing a positive reaction from the news. That news being, hey, we're going to make a cheaper car. Doesn't that sound better? I was missing J Powell without his clown makeup on. It is, just purchased it. Hey, thank you. Really appreciate that. Grab that, tell me what you think, right? I'm always here to answer questions about the course, anything about an indicator, anything like that. But I really just want you guys to be able to learn, and I want to hear feedback, guys. But thank you. It looks like Yip and Preston, thank you guys so much for buying that course. Really appreciate it. And I think you're really going to see some things that are helpful. Anyone else, it's a great time. Any weekend is great to take it because you can come back to the market on Monday with a fresh perspective. So these are just two individuals who I see you guys take trading very seriously. You're always trying to get better. And I think that this course will cause that to happen. And I think you will be very, very happy with the results afterwards. Why not buy long dated puts with the 2 million? Because you already have 2 million. You already have 2 million. At that point, why even mess with an options market? You have $2 million. I would only invest if I had $2 million. Once I have 2 million, I won't be most likely options trading unless I'm still excited by it. I feel like by the time I'm at that point, I'll probably be a little bit tired of options and just want to swing trade and things like that. Thanks, Luke. You're welcome, JS. If I was gonna do options with like $2 million, I'd probably do like 6-month out plays and just scale into positions. So if you have 2 million and you see rapid moves, maybe you pull up a weekly, right? You pull up a weekly, and the only time that you take a position down is when you see weekly divergence confirm. So right here, you could invest maybe $100,000 into the put side, and then you'd take profit early because you're going to make so much money off this right here, this move happening that fast. Lucas, are the weekly ranges useful even without the course? Yes, if you have an understanding of the indicators, if you have a good understanding of these indicators and a good understanding of your strategy, they're still useful. Why is that? Why would these still be useful? Well, because if you're doing options or something like that, well, then we would know something here. What would we know right around this area? Well, it's a Wednesday and we're outside of that, so the likelihood of going up from here is lower than the probability of going down from here. So this is where you could take profit. You can use it as a take profit symbol. Can you explain the divergence on the SPY? Divergence is something you need to really get a good hang of, like a good hold of, because it is something that can be difficult to spot. You can convince yourself things are divergence, but we do a lot more in the course. We talk about the significance of certain divergences, and that's going to help you a lot more versus a flat divergence or something like that. So we talk a lot about that in the course, but as far as can you explain divergence, it just means that you're getting a low and then you get another low, and your momentum indicators are giving you a low and a higher low. So that's giving you an upward move while the price action is giving you a downward move. Now, you don't necessarily have it here. The one I like to point out is Apple, way back here in October when we called the bottom. Okay, right here. So as you can see, what's happening? We're seeing lower price, lower price, lower price. What's happening here? Higher, higher, higher. And we talk about why that is really important and why this is such a good trade right here in the course. And if you can pay attention very closely to that section, you can make a lot of money in this market. And if you have $2 million, okay, you know, I'm not going to buy at this one. I might scale in at this one, and then I buy at this one, and then boom, that goes up. So divergence is just the momentum slowing down. And then we say it a lot on this channel, momentum slows down. What if we get some kind of good news that pops us up? Well, now the momentum's dead, so you can see a very good reaction. Will there be any more pullbacks in May? You could still get one even right now. I know that we're heading higher, and it very well could just keep going up. That's perfectly fine with me. I'm just having a hedge in place, and I'm waiting for the next move up. So I'm waiting for the next pullback to move up. This is not going to just go like this forever. It's most likely going to hit a point. Where would it hit? Well, maybe it hits that daily expected move. We see that pull down into this zone and then curl back up. What happens there? Well, 30 minutes up here, it curls down, curls back up into positive territory. There's your next move. So I'm still being patient. Sometimes it takes you to the member page and sometimes the course. Shit, I gotta fix that. I'm gonna go test it myself real quick. Why would it take you to the member page? That's so silly. Oh, what? It doesn't even have my thumbnail on there. This isn't the right thumbnail either. I have my thumbnail on. Yeah, that's me talking. I hate my voice. I like my own video? Maybe. Yeah, it takes me right to the course. Let me do it again. Yeah, it looks like it's taken me to the course. And I need to change that to May 4th, by the way. Got the weekly ranges, Sir Lucas. Is there some I need to know before I read them? Not necessarily. If you join, are you saying you joined the Patreon? If you join the Patreon, you can just put them on your chart. That's the big thing. So on Sundays, you're gonna I give them out the weeklies on Sundays, and then monthlies are obviously updated a little sooner up, little throughout the week. Sometimes, like next week, it'll come midweek. You just want them on your charts right away. And then what I like to do is I like to look at them. I like to look at them before the week even starts and think of like the scenarios that could play out. That's what I like to do, and that's most of the time what I'm telling you guys on YouTube. I'm telling you the scenarios that could play out based on what the signals look like at that moment. And then that changes throughout the week. It's always going to change. No one knows exactly what the market's going to do, all right? Unless you're maybe Jerome Powell or something like that. But what I would do is if I make a weekly range, okay, up here, right? Let's say it's next week's weekly range. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to say, okay, if we're going to roll over from right now, we could go test the bottom side weekly range. Why? Because I have divergence and I'm rolling down into negative territory. Okay. But if I'm going to go up, what if I see a rapid move up? Or what if this just bases out and curls back up into positive territory? That would be the next move to go higher towards that daily or that weekly expected move. Or what if we just go ballistic and go past it? Well, then I know there's a 68% chance for a drop, so I can look for any rolls over up in this area and see some kind of pullback by end of the week before I get in. So that's how I would use it. I would just say make sure that you're putting it on your chart right away. Hopefully that helped, Melody. Thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you being there. And make sure to join the chat. There's a new chat thing that I put up there. So you can click on chat and then post any good trades you had or any questions you have. And the community can answer questions as well if I don't get to it. So if someone knows an answer or something like that, and I check in on it periodically, I'm trying to get better about it. I'm just busy all the time. Yeah, there's even an ongoing chat, kind of like this one throughout the day, but it just keeps going all day. So pretty cool. I see some people in there messaging pretty often, which is awesome. All right, I think actually where we are at, I want to go get a good lunch and go to the gym, guys. Friday's my solid day, and we're thinking about making a membership for maybe a Friday close stream for YouTube. But right now, we just have this stream going on for today. Now, what I want to pay attention to throughout the day today, we're outside of the weekly. We still have a 68% chance to land right here today. But as we get closer and closer to that close, that's less likely to happen. I would look for any profit taking by end of day. We still could see a pullback here before we want to head higher. Okay, now why do I want to pay attention to downside? Divergence right here. Divergence that could pull me down into negative territory is something I'm paying attention to. If that pulls me into negative territory and curls over the 2 hour, well, then what's going to happen? Well, this 2 hour curls over. Where is it? It's a little bit down there, right? It's right at that center line. So if we actually see this fade throughout the day, this is the downside to pay attention to. Okay, what can we do? Test this low, maybe go make a new one. Maybe this is the setup that needs to happen before we get a bigger upward move, so we have a sturdier base, right? And then from this, what can we also do? Well, we could probably make some kind of wedging in here or something like that. We could probably do something like this, draw this across. Where are we hitting? Well, there's supposedly resistance right here with the trend. What could happen from there? This drops down. What else happens? Now we can form even more. What if we do something like this? Now it looks kind of wedgy, right? So we'll do all of that as it happens. But I just want you to be aware if this 2 hour rolls over, it's still going to be a bad thing. Half of the GDP was expected. Exactly. And that's why I'm stating the downside that could come. Now, here's where you get bullish. Okay, this is when you get bullish, when this actually crosses up. I think when this actually confirms, and yes, I know the MACD is a little bit lagging on the indicators, but the RSI is just barely crossing the center line. The MACD hasn't even crossed on it. These two haven't crossed yet. So once that does cross, I'll be convinced. But mainly, I'm going to use the Qs. I really think this level of 438.28 is very important. You take back the 50, you get back within this liquidity in here, then you can maybe pile up and see a big upward move. That's what I would be paying attention to the upside. This curling up on the MACD for the SPY and the Qs. The Qs here, 30-minute, you have that divergence still intact as of right now. Now that could be invalidated. We could see a random move up. What would we want to pay attention to if we see more buying? Well, this is going to have to consolidate at some point, maybe with some profit taking and then curl up one more time. This is a better entry than even this right now, because even if you tried to get that move, well, if this happens and you didn't sell up there, then you're going to get eaten up. So I'd rather not buy here. I'd rather buy here if this would happen. Now, if this is going to roll over right now, what do we have? We have divergence. Okay, so anytime I have a 30-minute divergence, we go over this in the course, guys. 149 for the next few days. If the 2-hour curls down, this 30-minute divergence can cause that to happen. Curls down, what happens? Well, we could actually get into this zone, this gray zone down here. So maybe next week I'm paying attention to the bottom side of my weekly. We do something like that. We get outside of it while creating a divergence. That would be a great trade setup, and you're going to learn all of this in the course. Apple going forward, this is going up, but looks like we might need to consolidate. Okay, so I actually got out of Apple. I think I made 10% or something. I was just seeing if that daily momentum would take over and really start to go up. Why did I make that play? Well, look down here. Right here, Apple is telling you, I'm weak, my momentum is dying off, and I could see some kind of big move. And what's happening from this low right here? Well, we're seeing a big move. We honestly are going from 164 to 170. That's a solid move. But does this have the structure to really head up? And it has earnings. So I suspect people will fight back and forth with the earnings. Therefore, I need to pay attention to the 30-minute. Now, if the 30-minute, this is in positive territory. So if we're going to head higher, I'm going to see this do this, base out, curl back up, positive territory, right? Curl down, curl back up. This is all stuff you can learn in the course. You see how it's kind of like swing trading. So you can really learn how to do a lot from that course. But next move higher comes when this scoops up. Very, very good to pay attention to. All right. If this is going to go down deeper, then the 30-minute's going to go negative, and you're going to roll over this 2-hour into negative territory. So something I would like to see from Apple from a trader perspective, maybe I even take a chance on it with earnings because I like Apple. I've traded a lot. Maybe I take a small play here, but if I am going to play earnings, I don't suggest playing earnings. I would just say be willing to lose 100% of whatever you put into the earnings at that point. Okay, so Tesla going forward, this one too, another strong move, great move above the weekly range. We gave that to you this week. The upside looking here. Why is this going to be most likely a bigger move? Well, you have divergence. You have triple divergence down here on the MACD. You have a wedge. You're breaking out of that. So I would expect this to happen now, which would be this. We're going to go up. We're most likely testing something like 180.92. We see that drop off for a retest. Then we maybe see that big move. So for Tesla going forward, 30-minute, look at that. It's just cooked. It's been cooked for a while. So I'd really like to see a pullback before I enter a move. So if that positivity continues, I don't care. I'm still waiting for the same thing. 30-minute to pull down, pull back up. 30-minute to pull down on the RSI, get back above that center line. 30-minute down here on the MACD, curl back above that center line for the next push higher, telling me the positive trend will continue. Amazon, this one looks cooked as well. Not able to fight this high. If you get above this price right here, well, what could you have? Left, head, right shoulder. But in order to do that, we would need that right shoulder. So a pullback from here looks very, very likely across the board. I would just pay attention if this fully crosses over into negative territory, because you could get another test of 166.12 for Amazon. But a lot of these are going to be, is the daily able to roll up? You see the daily still in near positive, near the center line. So that could be positive if it curls up. That would kind of convince me, hey, we're going to come test this higher, go make a new one, unless we see bad news before that and get some kind of lower high. So that's what I'd be paying attention to. Now down here, you do have this left. Now you do have a head. So if we wanted to consolidate again, maybe pop up to here and then drop, that would still make sense. Left head, right shoulder with this touch right there, you can get that to form. So just keep that in mind. NVIDIA, this one here looks like it's going to cross today, tomorrow. Looks like it's going to cross right on the daily. So this would really confirm a move to test this high or go make a new one. and maybe we see NVIDIA actually get to 1,000 next week. That actually can happen. I'm just stating right now, I don't see that. Right now, I would like to see this is breaking up. That is okay. Now I want to see it dip down, find some buyers in this zone, and then curl up. What that would do, MACD curls down, curls back up. The next big move I can be a part of, right? So now that I know it's a positive trend, you actually knew it right here. This curled into positive territory. This was a trade to take. The only reason it was a little scary to take is because your weekly expected move is right here. So it actually would make sense for NVIDIA to drop off dramatically by end of day. Keep that in mind. But if that dramatic drop leads to it turning back up, we're going to see another positive push, and we can pay attention to our weekly expected moves on Patreon. Now, AMD, this is violating no divergence now in this area. Cup, handle. Let's see if we can go for a run here. The only problem is the 30-minute a little bit cooked, so maybe we do something like that as well. I'm pretty much looking for a pullback across the board, and I'm hoping those pullbacks, if I'm bullish, don't lead to the 2-hour crossing over, because if the 2-hour crosses over here, it's going to be down towards this area when it crosses over. Boom, we take out that low. AMD goes and makes a new one right before earnings, and then we just stay away from AMD. There's no way I'm trading AMD around earnings. Screw that. Meta. Meta, what are we paying attention to? Well, the 30-minute. Can it build up? Can it get back above 453.08? That would be a good sign. Right now, that could be held as resistance. And notice that we were paying attention to the 15-minute. That started to roll over, but did not confirm on the MACD. So you got that confirmation on the RSI. Still can confirm on the MACD. You just want to see that actually confirm, because then you're going to, like on Friday, if you see this happen, well, then you're going to get new weekly ranges. You could probably just play that downside weekly range if that would happen, but you want to make sure this is crossing. I would not try to take anything early in a market like this. You're going to see a big enough move. This here, you do have a slight divergence up here, but Microsoft really getting to where it needs to. Right at this level here could be a neckline. Now you get left head. What if we make that right shoulder? So even on a 15-minute, I can pay attention to this dipping down, maybe even going negative for a minute, but curling back up, going positive. I think the next big move will be when that happens, as long as everything remains good across the board over the weekend, geopolitically and things like that. Google, everyone wanting us to find supports. Everyone's asking every single technical analyst to find a support and a resistance and all this stuff. I would just say this. If anyone's giving you support or resistance above this level right here of 161.81, they're probably full of crap, to be totally honest, because you have no price action up here. The price has not been up here, so you have no price action up here as far as that's concerned. Now, if you did want some kind of level to pay attention to, I would use a fib right here from the previous lows, the extreme lows down here. Now we see that big move up. Okay, where could we go? Well, I like this golden pocket, which happens to be at 161.45. What else is at 161.45? Our previous highs. Okay, so our previous high could be where Google actually heads to. And all we want to do is pay attention to the next move that can come. So even if this wanted to remain up here, because we don't know what could happen because it's in the unknown, well, all I have to do, watch this 15-minute curl down, curl back up, positive territory, curl down, curl back up, positive territory. That's what I would be paying attention to overall. Now, the reason we have to be a little bit skeptical, we're seeing TLT with a solid bounce there. We're seeing the dollar break out as of right now. Just pointing that out. The 4-hour just broke out of structure. We could be seeing a downward move. Why? Well, we have 2-hour divergence that's forming right now on the VIX, and we have a 30-minute divergence there as well that could confirm as of right now. So this is a moment where volatility can come back in, and I encourage you to just be cautious to the upside, as we could be seeing pullbacks across the board. Now, if this thing wants to go ballistic, we just be patient, right? We still wait for the trade setup. But I really appreciate you guys being here today. I really, really do. I really do encourage you to get that course. You can see the sentiment of the course in the chat here is, it is good. It will help you clarify a lot of things, and it will give you a better understanding of indicators, while also giving you a strategy for when things get a little wild as far as when volatility is higher, which I believe is going to happen very soon. I think we're going into now there is potential. We're always changing, right? I'm never going to be like, okay, we're going up until October, and then I see signs that we're going to head down soon and say, hey, this could be the moment. I'm never going to not switch, because this market's always going to be developing, always changing. Therefore, we should be developing and changing and adapting to this market. And that's why on this channel, we trade like water. So the course 149 for the next 8 days. 8 days to get it at the price point of 149. And then by May 4th, that price is going to increase. So just be aware of that. It's a great time to take it, guys, over the weekend. So maybe after I hop this off and end the stream, you can go down in the links in the description and get that course. Or at least join the Patreon, see what's going on there, because you get some weekly ranges to help you out if you already have a very good understanding of indicators. I have people who have good understanding of indicators and they take it and they go, holy crap, I didn't even think of it that way. So really appreciate everyone who's out there talking well about the course. And I think that it is a very, very helpful product for you to learn. And especially if you're just starting out or something like that. If I understood this stuff when I was just starting out, shoot, maybe I would have that $2 million. But appreciate you guys coming by. I really, really hope you guys make some money today. I always hope that your success is all I'm hoping for on this channel, educating you so that you can become a good trader. That's all I want to do. They are separate. They are separate, Devin, but in the course, I give you a way to make ranges. It's not the best, but it's a very quick way to make ranges. So Devin, even if you don't want to join the Patreon after, even though I highly encourage it, it's $7. It's a cup of coffee a month. But if you don't want to do that, I'm not going to sit here and be like, please join. No, I'm going to say, hey, in the course, I teach you how to make ranges with Robinhood. I teach you a method to make ranges on Robinhood so you can make the weekly and monthly ranges. They're just not going to be exact numbers, but they still work. I've used them before. Good question, Devin. Is the dollar going up bad for stocks? Yes, Dingleberry. Yes, the dollar going up, they are technically negatively correlated. So something that you may need to go back and watch some videos, Dingleberry. I don't know which ones exactly to teach you, but we'll just go to a weekly here. So during this upside, let me do this. Let me do this. This might help a lot, actually. Okay, good. We got this. Let's put it on a weekly. We'll just do this, and we'll end off with this. All right? So throughout this whole move here, from right here, this is where I was calling for a pullback so that we could have better structure to head up over time, right? Then we would look prettier going up into this price point. But what happened during this time? Well, you had a moment in time where what happens? The dollar goes down, stock market goes up. That is correct. But you had a moment here where the price action of the stock market goes up and the dollar goes up at the same time. So what does that mean? That means someone is selling in this move. That means all we had to do was look at SEC filings and pay attention to what was going on. We knew Mark Zuckerberg was selling during this upturn. We knew that Jeff Bezos was selling during this uptick. We knew that the CEO of, I can't remember his name right now, but the CEO of NVIDIA was selling throughout this uptick. Okay, so that tells us the insiders are selling. So when the insiders are selling, that usually means something bad is going on, and you need to pay attention because this up move could end very dramatically down. So that's something to pay attention to. Now, what else could we say from the dollar? Let's think about this for a sec. There was something else I was going to point out, and I just forgot it. So you're pretty much worried, when is this correlation going to come back and we're going to see some kind of crash at this point because you have big money that is out of the market, which means retail's holding the bags. So if the market makers want, they just crash the market. Retail mostly loses in this move. That's something to look at there. But you'll learn a lot of stuff like this about, I don't know if we necessarily go through the dollar too much. It's not the most important thing to pay attention to. It's more a signal that you want to pay attention to for macro side detailing. And I give a lot of that on every single weekend for YouTube. So if you want, just subscribe and turn on notifications and pay attention to the weekend videos, because that's mostly when we talk about how the dollar is behaving. At this point, you would just say, hey, the weekly is in a positive trend. That's not a good sign for stocks. If that correlation fully comes back, we're going to see the dollar rapidly move up. And that's why it's bad for today. That's why it's bad for today. So you're noticing this. What's happening? The dollar's going up. What is the SPY right now? It's positive by 1%. So that means that someone is selling at these levels, and why I wanted to point out volatility has that divergence, and we could see volatility come back in right now. Do I think that leads to a crash? Maybe, maybe not. It really depends on why we're crashing. But if we just pull back from here, it would make total sense. It would make total sense to pull back from here before heading higher. We're in a liquidity zone. You're just noticing, again, the dollar heading up while the stock market is moving up. And that's why you want to pay attention to. That's why we make these zones. That's why I make these zones for you guys where we could get to. Where's the first point where we could see sellers? Right here. Sellers come in. So originally, early on in the week, it's right here. Now, as we approach Friday, it's right here, and we could close a lot lower. We could see the 2-hour divergence before we actually see a really big upward move. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have some time this weekend. You trust the bond market over the stock market since it's way bigger. And yes, the bond market's way bigger, and so you can pay attention to HYG. We point that out too most of the time on Saturdays on our weekend video. But you have a very, very good point there, Georgie. Just looking at TLT, Georgie, see how TLT's been reacting. Well, not the best, right? So it's been going down while the stock market's been going up. So that just tells you the smart money, which would be bond people, are the smart money. They're saying, hey, we got to go lower. And the dumb money is now buying into this overall move. So pay attention to that going forward. But looks like we could be seeing some stuff roll down on some 2 hours or 30 minutes for at least a pullback going into early next week. If things change, we're here to update you. And hopefully you guys enjoy that course over the weekend, 149 for the next 8 days. So check that out. Links in the description. But appreciate you guys being here. Thank you as always for liking and subscribing. You guys are always fantastic about that. Smash that like button as we are ending the stream here for me. And I really appreciate you guys being here today. I hope you guys have all the luck in the world trading with the rest of your day. And I'll wish you some more luck this weekend throughout all my YouTube videos. Have a good day, guys. Peace.